I spent years of my life obsessed with this idea of fitness. I would exercise every day. It would be on my mind 24/7. I pushed myself to my limits, and yet at the end of it, though I thought it was going to make me happy, it made me sad and depressed.
Yeah.
Cobra pose, Sphinx pose. If you were like me, you were probably bombarded all the time with fitness accounts reminding you that it's time to get in the perfect shape of your life. It's time for that beach bod babe, even if it's only October. A good 50% of the accounts that you see on Instagram are probably fitness related. In fact, the fitness industry is now an $81.5 billion industry, and it is still growing every single year. Every day we have new fitness accounts popping up on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitch, on all of these social media platforms. Fitness influencers have taken the fitness industry to the next level. But is this a good thing?
Guys, welcome to the final episode of the 2023 Weight Loss Challenge.
So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Chloe and I am an avid gym goer. I do love the gym and I love sports. I love pushing myself athletically and physically to my limits. That's something I do love to do, but I did it wrong for so many years. I was constantly prioritizing my fitness and leaving my health far behind. Now, you may be like, what the heck? How are you fit and not healthy? Well, if you're confused by that, that's why you're watching this video, because it's a very important distinction. See, I was just training for fitness, thinking that meant I was increasing my health. But my toned biceps didn't mean my hormones were functioning well. My tight core didn't mean I had my blood sugar managed. I put too much pressure on fitness being the thing to equate to health that I pushed for more and more, further depleting my health. Kind of ironic, eh? So let's go back to my place and let's discuss it. How is this even possible? Because fitness is supposed to be all about health, right? Well, sadly it's not, and today we're gonna make that distinction so you don't get caught up in what I got caught in about 7 years ago. I was obsessed with fitness, literally absolutely obsessed. And I honestly think that the main drive for me was health, because at that time I was severely orthorexic, so I had this focus on healthy eating and healthy foods, all because I didn't want to get sick. I didn't want to get diabetes. I didn't want to get heart disease. I didn't want to get, any sort of metabolic dysfunction. And so I really did, I feel like, with my fitness routine, have this intention behind it of I want to be healthy. What I see online as healthy is being fit. And so now I not only had a pressure to eat perfectly clean, but I also had the pressure to look a certain way and to maintain a certain level of fitness. I never stopped to really analyze what my definition of health was to see if it really truly matched up with what health in reality is. Health to me really at that time meant skinny. But the thing is, to protect myself from not getting any metabolic disease, it doesn't mean that I needed to maintain a size 00. And it doesn't mean that I needed to have visible abs showing. And so because that's not what health is not the abs and the thigh gap and the toned biceps, I really should have checked myself to make sure that what I was doing was actually healthy and not depleting my health. Because at that time, I was exercising 2 to 3 times a day, 7 days a week, with absolutely 0 rest days. Yeah, I would go on these pages, all these blogs and fitness accounts that told me that I needed to meal prep, I needed to eat salad every day for lunch and broccoli and chicken, and I needed to make sure that they were all in my little containers, all prepped for me for the week. I was told that I needed to push hard, do high intensity, work out every single day, drink a bunch of protein shakes, wake up early, get my workout in before everyone was awake, do fasted cardio, drink pre-workout to energize me because I was exhausted, and when needed, started taking things like BCAAs or creatine, or maybe even do some detox tea to lose that extra 5 pounds. So I did just that. And what happened is I ended up with something called relative energy deficiency in sport. So what happens is when we start overexerting our body or training too much, time and time again with not enough rest, there ends up being a decline in our mental and physical health. I do not understand why more fitness accounts don't bring this into awareness, but I think it's probably because a lot of these fitness accounts are from people who are themselves in relative energy deficiency in sport, and they just don't even know it. I saw this video the other day of this girl who was claiming that she's just so fit and so strong and so in shape that she didn't notice she was pregnant until she was 5 months along. And listen, I know every single body reacts differently to pregnancy, and some people don't show until later on. But what kind of dings in my head here is the fact of if I didn't have a period for 5 months, I would take a pregnancy test. I would be alarmed to the fact that my period isn't coming like it used to on a monthly basis. So this has me kind of questioning whether this person had a monthly menstrual cycle. And when you go to her page, you see it's all about dieting and extreme fitness, and she's maintained a very lean physique for a lot of her life. I question as to whether she had a period or not. Let's go through this little checklist here to see if you are potentially someone dealing with relative energy deficiency in sport. So get your pen and paper out, guys, and mark down what applies to you. First one is a loss of libido, a loss of a desire to have some intimate time. It's just not there. For women, you probably are a lot more dry down there, and sex can be a lot more painful. For men, your virility is gone, so maybe it's just kind of a little bit hard to get up all the time. Digestive disorders. When we start overtraining and getting an energy debt, it's really easy to all of a sudden run into issues like constipation, chronically bloated, feeling just kind of upset after you eat, maybe having GERD issues. Later down the road, that could end up in looking like H. pylori, candida overgrowth, SIBO. Those things are popping up out of nowhere, guys. So ladies, one of the most frustrating parts about my whole journey was that I was constantly dealing with debilitating digestive pain. There were many days where I thought I was actually gonna have to go to the hospital to get checked up because I was in so much pain. I had no idea how I was going to push through and even be able to breathe properly and sit up. It was quite insane. And yet, no matter how many doctors or gastroenterologists or naturopathic doctors I went to, no one was able to help me. And anytime I went to a naturopathic doctor, all they would give me is a list of foods to eat and a longer list of foods not to eat. This further perpetuated my orthorexia, and it also further perpetuated my digestive issues. So I would take out all of these foods, but I was still reacting, and I still even if there were some things that was oh, I feel a little bit better, I still was someone who had digestive issues. It wasn't until I did my training in dynamic eating psychology with Mark David, which was a beyond fascinating training, that's when I started learning about the fundamental things that we have to have for good digestion that I did not have at all. And no matter how many diets I tried, or herbs, or supplements, or probiotics, nothing was going to help me until I got this foundation set. I took everything I learned from that whole training, I implemented it into my life. I started shifting a lot of things, and no, these aren't diet things. In fact, I added in more food and had less digestive pain. But I started implementing all of these things, and all of a sudden that chronic bloating, constipation, the gassiness, the GERD, the indigestion, the like doubling over in pain, that started to go away. And now here I am years later, and I can't remember the last time I had any digestive pain. So I thought it was time that more people understood this. I've not only healed my own digestive issues, but I've also helped heal hundreds of other women's digestive issues in a very holistic, natural, like fundamental way. So I decided to put this in a little masterclass for you called Awakening Your Digestive Flow. And I figured this would be a great way for me to like create a single program, a single thing that is just talking about your digestion and how to improve it. So this is a 4-module in-depth approach to healing your digestive issues for anyone who's coming from energy debt, over-exercising, relative energy deficiency in sport, amenorrhea, stuck in quasi-recovery from an ED, someone who's been a chronic dieter. If that is you, then this is going to be something that I think is extraordinarily helpful. So you can click the link down below if you're interested in awakening your digestive power. That's all I have for now. If there's any questions about it, just shoot me a message on Instagram. Let's get back to the video now. You have overall hormonal imbalances. For women, an irregular cycle and or she completely lost her cycle, that's called amenorrhea. My whole YouTube channel is about it because I had it for 11 years. If you don't have a period, girls, that's something that you have to be paying attention to. So I highly recommend going and scrolling my Instagram and my YouTube channel. That way you can learn more about it. Hair loss, that is something that definitely is going to start happening. The body is not going to prioritize growing hair when it is put under so much stress. The next sign that you're going through relative energy deficiency in sport is that you're getting a lot of muscle cramping and or a lot of muscle soreness that is not going away the time that it should. I get it, we get sore after we work out. That's normal to get overly sore and to not be able to like quickly kind of repair from that. That can be a sign that you're pushing too hard, too fast, and you're not giving your body enough time to rest. Sleep may be getting really hard at this point. Hard to fall asleep, hard to stay asleep. Maybe you're waking up in pain all the time. Your immune system is down. You tend to just be getting every single cold that's going around. And you're running into issues like really low heart rate, even though people will tell you that's fitness. It also can be a really bad sign that you have overdone it when you have a low heart rate and low blood pressure. Maybe you've noticed that you've become really sensitive to cold, or you have an inability to kind of like warm up. And then when it comes to working out, you're gonna have decreased endurance, you're gonna have decreased performance, you're not reaching your PRs anymore, you're not progressing, you might actually even be declining in your performance, your coordination is getting off a little bit. These are kind of like a lot of the physical signs that you're gonna see when you start overdoing it. And now, here's the thing, relative energy deficiency in sport is not just going to impact us physically, so we got another checklist here. Let's see what happens to us mentally when we start overtraining. 1, irritability. You're just irritable. You're snapping at people. You're not really happy all the time. Number 2, you can start getting in some depressive moods. Number 3, you start dealing with things like panic attacks or just overall feeling a lot of anxiety. You could have a lack of motivation in life in general. You could have trouble focusing on things. There's a lot of brain fog going on up there. We just went through that checklist. Are you checking things off? If you're even just checking a few, like you notice you're not sleeping well, you're more irritable, your muscles are a little bit too sore, and you're having some digestive issues, that alone right there is way more than enough to let you know that like, hey, maybe you're going down a wrong path, and maybe you need to shift things up and find a little bit more balance in your fitness routine so that it's actually promoting health and not just increasing your fitness. You see, the thing about these fitness influencers is that they say they're all about health and fitness, right? But in reality, what they love to do is they love to promote the extremes. Extreme weight loss transformations, extreme exercise routines, and then of course they show their extreme body leanness, right? Their extreme physique, the abs, the thigh gap, all of those things. And you see those things and you can easily go like, yeah, I want that transformation. that seems amazing. Look, this person went from, 160 pounds to 120 in 2 months, and you think that's amazing. But I think what we forget is that that extreme transformation came with extreme work, extreme diets, extreme exercise routines, an extreme lifestyle. And if there's anything that I've learned in my whole journey of fitness and health, is that health really does not like extremes. Health honestly just really wants like peace and quiet. It wants a calm nervous system. It wants to be in the parasympathetic nervous system state, not the sympathetic, so not the fight or flight. It wants to feel safe. Literally, I feel like health is synonymous with safety. Your body feels safe. There's enough energy, there's enough nutrition, there's enough sleep, there's enough rest, there's enough slowness in that person's life to allow them to have all systems of their body activated and every single system to have enough energy, and also to allow a lot of reparation to happen because especially if you're someone who's fit, you're constantly repairing yourself. Your muscles are, repairing itself from the damage of lifting weights. Lifting weights like tears your muscles. That's how it like grows, right? But that's a lot of damage that the body needs to come in and fix. And you really gotta stay out of these extreme things if you want to get to a state of health. And I feel like this whole industry is just like preying on people's insecurities. I mean, if you look at these like top fitness accounts, and mind you, this is not everything, this is a stereotype, okay? But if you look at these like top fitness accounts, what you see is that this is so hard to do on a screen. But you see just a lot of body checking going on. A lot of like, ooh, look at my abs this morning, do this ab routine, and look at my glutes, look how big my bum is, and all of that. Like, that is what you see. And so it preys on people's insecurities of like, hey, I don't look like that. And this is what I'm seeing online to be aesthetically pleasing and aesthetically desired. And so they hook you in by that, right? Do this and you will look like me, even though that's ridiculous. I could do the same exact workout routine and eat the same exact food as one of these influencers, and my body is not gonna look like theirs. I genetically put on weight everywhere. I can't get a very slim waist and a huge bum. I will put on genetically an equal amount of my stomach and my bum. And so if I'm growing a bum, I'm also growing a stomach. And so these like, all these fitness things that I see online that are like, do this, grow your bum, shrink your waist. I'm like, is that really even possible for me? And listen, I am not against people becoming fit and like, getting into shape and wanting to use exercise to help in that journey. I'm not against that, right? Like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, no one can ever go on this journey of body transformation or losing weight or whatever it is, right? I am not about that, okay? But here's the thing. When your main focus for working out, going to the gym, and doing all this stuff is just to lose weight and to shift and change your body, you most likely are going to end up in a very unhealthy relationship with exercise, because now it's not about fun, it's not about health, it's not about let's have a good time, let's get our endorphins going. Now it is solely about the pressure of I need to look differently because I'm not pretty how I look now, but if I conform to these standards that I see on social media everywhere, then I will be pretty. And so what's gonna happen is that it's gonna have people go really, really hard at the gym 7 days a week, trying to go for this transformation. And now all of a sudden it's really easy for exercise to start to become a punishment for the food that you ate before, or a punishment for not looking the way you need to look, and you have to force yourself to exercise again so that you can look this certain way again, because all you're seeing on these social media accounts is like body checking after body checking after body checking after body checking. But I'm just saying that the behavior of like body checking is probably unnecessary and not really the message that you should be giving to your audience, because you want them to find a passion and a joy for working out, and not just this is something for you to change your body size, because that's just going to be unsustainable. It just further insinuates the idea that health is about losing weight and that health looks a certain way. And I just want to make this really clear for you ladies out there that health actually doesn't have one particular look. Health is not the size 0 with the abs. Health looks radically different on everyone. And so you might be sitting here being like, I don't have that physique, I don't have that figure, I must not be healthy. Like, that's the message that you could be easily kind of getting from these accounts, when in reality, to be honest, I would say that probably a lot of people who are just, yeah, I'm just active here and there and I just like eat balanced, right? And let's say they're at a bigger size, you could say, they're not the size 0, let's say they're the size 6, right? And you could be sitting there going like, I'm so unhealthy because I don't look like this person over here who has this fitness account who is very healthy, right? I would actually probably go ahead and say that the person sitting in this example at the size 6 is probably, hear me out, is probably more metabolically healthy than the girl who has like 15% body fat percentage and is working out all the time. And this is what we're starting to see happen. We have people starting to push and push and push more and more, reaching for these insane aesthetic goals, completely disregarding health along the way. If we look at just bikini competitors from a couple years ago to today, you'll see that there is a difference in what we deemed as competition ready, as like, wow, you're at that perfect aesthetic. You can see both are pretty lean, both have muscle tone, yes, but the one from a couple years ago definitely looks a little bit more curvier, has a little bit more body fat, which is healthy, and overall just isn't as extreme. But what we see now is kind of a switch towards how can we become leaner and fitter and more toned. Where are the people talking about how unhealthy this potentially is, that we are pushing ourselves to further and further lengths in our aesthetic goals? There's this really famous Instagrammer, and I do like her, so I don't mean to throw any shade at her. She is this fitness guru person online, right? And I've watched her for the past couple of years. She's pretty intense with her workouts. Like, I'm someone who goes hard. She goes hard and pretty consistently because it's her job. So she's always doing new workouts. She's always filming. She's always putting together new programs. She has a very strong athletic body, but I hadn't seen her stuff in a while, and then her thing popped up on my feed and I see all of a sudden that this is her. She dropped nearly 20 pounds in just the last couple months and is dealing with severe thyroid issues. Now, being someone who is in this space, I understand how insane working out, how overdoing it, how hitting relative energy deficiency in sport can start impacting your thyroid and thus your metabolic health. And I'm not diagnosing her. I don't know what's going on in her life. I'm not saying that this is what's going on. I'm just saying that if a client came to me and was like, hey, I've been exercising really hard and all of a sudden I have a thyroid issue, I would be connecting the two together. She's pushed herself over the years to insane lengths to reach her physique, and while she is one of those who does preach more of a balanced approach to food, which I appreciate, she still has been on like meal plans and diets for quite a while. This is a recipe to getting your metabolism completely wacky. And with her, she's kind of hitting this state where her metabolism is just like, we can't even keep muscle mass and body weight on. Which, you guys, is not a good thing. You want your muscle mass and you want enough body fat percentage for your health, and you want enough body fat percentage for your health, and you want enough body fat percentage for your health, and you want enough body fat percentage for your health. So it's not good that she all of a sudden, without changing anything, just started dropping the pounds. I know you know it, but I'm gonna go out and just say this. Instagram is a facade. I can't tell you how many women I've worked with over the years that have come to me who have huge followings. They have like 100K plus followings, right? Maybe 50K, some of them, 50K to 100 something, right? And they're selling these fitness programs and they're selling their healthy life and their meal plans and all of that. But then they end up in my DMs somehow going, hey, I haven't had a period in a couple years. I actually kind of want to work on that now because my partner and I might want to get pregnant. And I'm like, yeah. As a fitness influencer, you should be focused on how to ameliorate the health of people around you. And if you are doing these routines and you lose your health, you lose your period, which is a big sign of health if you're a woman, that's not a good thing. So now you're selling these programs that have made you unhealthy that are probably going to make a lot of other girls unhealthy if they follow it to a T. And that's always been a big concern to me, is that we have a lot of these people who are masking a lot of metabolic issues, and yet because they look a certain way, they have a certain aesthetic, we think that they're healthy. What I've learned in regards to my journey of fitness is that fitness should always ameliorate my health and not destroy it. And just because I have a certain body fat percentage or I have a certain muscle tone or muscle definition doesn't mean that I'm metabolically healthy. Fitness is great, but I think we really need to focus on becoming healthy, and then fitness can come afterwards. If you don't have a baseline of health, you're not nourishing yourself well, you don't have a good balance of hormones, then I don't think fitness should be your top priority, because fitness is a lot of stress on the body. It's a lot of muscle damage and repair and regrowth. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of time. You really shouldn't be doing all of that if your body is still figuring out just how to have a monthly menstrual cycle. If you are someone who has gone through this journey of hitting overtraining syndrome, of dipping into relative energy deficiency in sport, maybe you're a woman who has, been very active and has lost their period, then there is a coaching link down below. You guys, it is so worth just getting your health back into a good place. And I've guided over 600 women around the world through this journey to get them to a place where fitness and health are equating. Thank you so much, guys, for hitting that like button. That is just a beautiful way to say thank you for spending the time to make this video. Also, go ahead and hit subscribe if you're someone who's like, yes, this type of information is going to be helpful for me. I need to actually start prioritizing true health and not this like facade of health that kind of diet culture and the fitness industry kind of showcase to me. If you're really ready to improve your health, improve your relationship to food, improve your relationship to body, then go ahead and hit subscribe. You're not gonna be disappointed. I promise. And if you are, you can always just unsubscribe later. So go ahead, do it. See if you like my next couple videos, and then you can decide from there. All right, ladies, and the few couple gents that follow me, have a beautiful day, and I will see you in my next one.